Hello there, this is jQuery before my calling. In this video, I'm going to talk about the amazing thing of jQuery, which is DROM traversing, how you can accomplish the same thing in vanilla JavaScript, pretty straightforward. So right here, I have several examples. The most I can think of that can reach a variety of things that I can explain to you and expose you to. And over here, I'm canceling everything. So if I bring it to the browser here, bring inspect element. I'm just going to use this console here so the UI doesn't matter much. So the first thing here, I have the overall selector. But before I get into this, I just want to talk about the two things that I normally use to select anything in JavaScript. So you probably got exposed to document, get element by ID, class name, tag name, all those gibberish. But I prefer to use the query selector. This is something that comes really in advantage when you know your CSS well, and because it takes a CSS selector. So anything CSS selector you know of, you can pass it here and it gives you everything. So this is a very powerful tool when selecting DOM. Another thing I like about it is always return a node list for that purpose. So I'm gonna give you a quick example here. I'm just gonna log this guy right here. And I'm just gonna let me get element by tag name to li. So if I log these guys here in the browser, you see when a tag name, when at first glance you think they are the same, but you see but tag name, it gives me HTML collection, and the query selector all give me a node list. I like node list because it's the closest thing to array when it comes to node list. And another difference is what the options they provide you. So when HTML collection, you can only get access to the method item and name item, as well as the property length. But the node list provides more stuff, and something I'm really interested on is the for each, as well as the values and entries. So it's very useful methods that I can use on the list and iterate through and do more stuff to it. So this is another option. There's another reason I like node list better. So with that being said, query selector and query selector all are my my go-to tools when it comes to select anything on the DOM. So with those, I can pretty much do anything. So over here, I'm expecting to get a list, so I can just go document query selector all. The query selector all always return every match defined. So we see I easily replace the $ symbol. I'm just gonna rename this guy. Oops, I got the wrong one. It's fine. So I can just go and replace this 3 because I'm expecting to get a list of things. Right here, you see I easily replace the $ with document query selector all. So before I log this guy, I just want to talk about a little quick about this odd here. So the jQuery takes CSS selector or the jQuery selector. So an example of jQuery selector is the odd here. Because query selector takes CSS selector only, this will not work, and the equivalent for this is nth of type, and then you pass odd. And let me print this guys and explain a little more about it. So if I just uncomment this guys, just come here in the browser and refresh, you see here the HTML that I get everything selector. I see the equivalent. It gives me pretty much the same thing, and gave me all the items here. This jQuery, get the query selector all here, give me all the node list. But if you notice here on the odd, it's kind of different. You see here it starts with item 2, item 4, but the odd one for the query selector all comes with item 1, 3, and 5. This is because the CSS it doesn't start from 0. The query selector all index starts from 1, and the jQuery starts from 0. So that's the reason here. But if I want to get the even, the odd thing here, I just change it to even. And if I really want to the same effect of jQuery, and you see pretty much now I got the same thing. So just quick note on when using the odd thing here. So I'm just gonna remove these guys, no longer need them. So everything for the rest here, I can use query selector here, I can just remove here because I'm expecting an H1 tag, I'm expecting P tag, I'm expecting a UL here, I'm expecting to get the first. Again, another trick of the query selector, an example there. And here, same thing here, actually. Yep. So another thing here, which it will not work because colon here first is a query selector. The equivalent here for CSS would be first of type. So this is the one thing that comes handy when you know your CSS well. So I recommend you really focus on that. So I'm just gonna uncomment this, guys. And you see here, I just got everything fine. So I can easily replace those things. So another thing of jQuery that's pretty awesome is the ability of selecting multiple things. Unfortunately, there's not equivalent for that in JavaScript, but for that I'm going to create a function actually that can do everything I just showed you with a simple function. I'm going to call this function query. Why not? It takes a selector, CSS selectors, and inside I'm going to use the document query selector all to do everything. So the first thing I'm going to need for this to work is the selector list. The selector list is going to be a split on the selectors. So if I do selectors here, that selector here, I just call split on it, and I want to split it by the comma select the comma. So you see here I have H1 comma P. So I'm going to split this. It will give me a new array. And another thing I'm going to use is selector node list. So this is where I'm going to store all the thing that I find. For now, I'm just going to initialize it to empty. And here I'm going to do the query selector list here. Just got some indentation issues. So here I'm going to iterate because it's an array, so I can do that. So I'm gonna pass it a function. It takes a function, and here so it pretty much goes through it, and for every item in the list it will run this function. So here inside I can call var selector, maybe selected nodes, and here will be where I do the query document query selector all. I'm going to do query selector all because I want to grab everything regardless of what they find, they return, pass it in as selectors. And here I'm going to check if you actually found something. So if you actually found something, I'm going to do some more stuff inside. So I'm going to iterate through it. So remember, it does return a node list, so I have options to use for each, just like an array. So here I pass it a function here. I'm probably going to call a node because selected nodes. And inside here I'm going to do if statement, which is going to be, I'm going to check if this list already contains something, this node. So to do that, I'm just come here, this index off. There's another ways you can do this, but index off takes you way back to ES8 and well supported, better than the new ES6 options, which is includes, I believe. And select the node list. That push, I'll pass a node. So what I'm doing here, if it's not in the list, if its index will be -1, otherwise it'll be 0 and above. So if it's not in the list, I'm just adding to the list, and at the end here I'm just going to return the list. Selection node list. Cool. So this should do everything. So if I come here and comment this, guys, and duplicate this and replace the $sign here to query and uncomment this, guys. So I'm just gonna first replace here. Remember, so first I'm going to just come here and replace it because first is not a valid selector, because here I just take so come here in the browser and refresh, you see I get pretty much the same thing. So voila. And this query would also works if I have one item, so just one, I'm gonna run here. Came in here, we get the list. But I want to go one step forward. I would just want to do if no selection list length is equal to 1. I'm just gonna return this the item. Otherwise, I'm just return the list. So this gives me an advantage here, so I can just get the item itself. So if I'm just query for the single thing, so this function query handles pretty much everything here. So you can go ahead and use this. You can call anything you want. Find it very useful. I use it a lot anywhere to avoid repeating myself and come up with the decision of what to use here, document or select by ID or whatever. So just use this function and pretty much works everything. So this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, leave a comment if you want. I'm gonna drop some documentations on the bottom here, so and some a place you can find this code as well. So thanks for watching. See you next video.